Hey everybody, it's your man Justin back with another video. This time I'm taking a request. This is a requested video, and I don't think I've ever actually covered this story or this topic on any of my videos. I've done, let's see, 138 different videos, combination of lives and just videos. And this is on the subject matter, very popular subject matter, which kind of surprises me. I didn't even go over this before. But the whole conspiracy surrounding the JFK assassination back in 1963, November 22nd, 1963, in Dallas, Texas. And I'm going to get into it was an email request. Let's see here. And oh, guys, if you guys want to send me a request, you could always do it down below in the comment section. Or if you don't want to show yourself, publicly, you can always go to my about section. My email link is there in the about, and you can email me the request. This is an emailed request. I also don't share your name if you don't want me to. Like if your name's revealed in the email. So let's jump in. Video request in the email. And this one is from, they don't want their name revealed, but the requested video is, Dear Justin explains everything. What's your take and opinion on the JFK assassination in 1963? There was a lot of questions surrounding Lee Harvey Oswald and his doings, whether he had anything to do with it, or whether it was a cover-up and maybe someone else did it or the government did it. What's your take on it? What do you think? Thank you very much. Okay, like my opinion is, and like, to be honest, like I've always been into various different, I don't want to label myself a crazy conspiracy theorist, but I like to call myself a truth seeker in terms of, trying to find answers. Hey, we all know we live in a world where things are, I think, manipulated. A lot of stories are manipulated. A lot of historic events, I think, are, deceptive. But I've never, to be honest, I never really did a ton of research on the JFK assassination, which, by the way, I want to get more into. I want to watch more documentaries. I believe there was a new documentary out on, I don't know if it was on Netflix or one of the streaming devices. There was a story recently on JFK and the assassination. I guess it was a long documentary about, all the different eyewitness accounts pertaining to the day that he was shot when he was going through Dallas, Texas. So anyways, I need to get more educated on that. I know a lot of the basics, the simple term basics of what happened. He was basically shot from, I believe it was a library on the same street, obviously, that JFK was in the car going past. And it was, of course, common knowledge, or at least what they tell us, it was Lee Harvey Oswald, who happened to work at that same library, that shot and killed JFK on that day. Supposedly he was working that day as well. So he was at work when he shot and killed JFK. Anyways, they apprehended him like within a minute or two of the shooting, but then let him go because they said, oh yeah, he works here at this library, everything's good to go. But then I guess shortly after that they determined he did it, supposedly based on the shell casings and the gun that was left behind. And of course he was arrested, I believe that same day or maybe the next day. Again, guys, I don't know the whole, I haven't done a ton of research on the JFK assassination. It was just never one of my top, I guess you could call it conspiracy theories, but it was something that I have a little bit of knowledge on. And he was, I guess, he was arrested But the crazy part about this whole thing is not that Lee Harvey Oswald was arrested. That part's not really shocking. But what's shocking is, okay, the assassination took place on November the 22nd, 1963. So, shit, that's going to be 50 years coming up in November. Anyways, 2 days later, on November 24th, when he was being, I think, transferred, like from one of the jails or whatever. I don't remember how it went down. When he was being transferred, he was then assassinated by somebody, and I'd have to look up the guy's name. I can't even. It's not at the top of my head. Lee was then assassinated within like 48 hours of assassinating JFK. Now that's pretty bizarre, and very coincidental. Then it gets even worse. It gets like more bizarre, the whole conspiracy rabbit hole. Then shortly, I think it was like shortly after the guy that assassinated Lee Harvey Oswald assassinated him, then he gets assassinated and killed. I believe he was I know he was killed. I don't remember if he was assassinated or if he died mysteriously. Maybe some of you guys that are more familiar with the story can inform me in the comment section or email me. But so Lee Harvey Oswald supposedly kills JFK, assassinates him on November 22nd. Then 2 days later, Lee is assassinated, so he's gone. Then the guy that assassinates Lee later on gets killed. So that whole thing's pretty bizarre. I don't know. Like if I had to go on just my gut feeling on the whole dynamic of the case, it seems pretty red flaggish to me. Like a lot of red flags going off, and it seems bizarre that all of that would happen in that sequence. The president gets assassinated, then the guy that assassinated the president gets killed 2 days later, then the guy that kills the guy that killed the president gets killed. So both those guys are dead, and then I guess the trail ends after that. So it sounds like the whole trail was just wiped away, like completely wiped clean. There is basically no trail left of any kind of evidence to go on about what really happened with the JFK assassination. To me, that's just really strange. Now, playing devil's advocate here, could it all be a coincidence that all of that happened? Sure. I mean, is it possible that Lee assassinated JFK because he just wanted to, maybe didn't like him? Then 2 days later, ironically, he gets assassinated by someone who was angry with him. Then that guy gets killed, who killed him. Is all of that possible? Could it all have happened just by chance, by coincidence? Yeah, but I don't think I would feel. I don't know. It's not one of those things where I would feel 100% good or satisfied with all of that happening and just call it a coincidence. To me, it sounds almost like Lee, maybe he really did either kill JFK but was put up to it by someone larger than him, maybe a government official, or he didn't even do it, period, but he was just pointed at. They somehow made him look like he did it. And they had to get rid of him because he would speak. So maybe someone was paid then to kill him, so he's completely shut up. And then for whatever reason, the guy that killed Lee Harvey Oswald, maybe he also knew too much and he had to die. I don't really know. It seems very puzzling and bizarre. It kind of, in a very similar manner, reminds me a little bit, not as. This is definitely more crazy, the JFK assassination, but kind of similar to what happened 5 years later in 1968 when Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated at his hotel. That's another bizarre thing. I actually did a video on the Martin Luther King assassination saying that I personally don't believe that he was just assassinated by some random dude. I believe it was definitely government related. Somebody involved with the government wanted Martin Luther King dead. In fact, not to get off subject here, but I already explained this in my Martin Luther King video, that years later, I think, after the Martin Luther King assassination, the government actually did pay the family of Martin Luther King money in a lawsuit settlement, basically agreeing, like, more or less accepting the fact that they were responsible for Martin Luther King's death, his assassination, but it was kind of swept under the rug, and it was like, it wasn't real public. You can find it. You know, there is documents out there, but it was kind of swept under the rug. Basically, the government more or less admitted to the family, yeah, we were responsible. So if they were responsible 5 years later in 1968 for assassinating Martin Luther King, what would stop them from assassinating the president, JFK, 5 years earlier in 1963? So I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's not concrete or set in stone. I mean, you know, I think most conspiracy theories, hence why they're called theories, there's usually never 100% solid concrete evidence or proof to, like, say yes or no, this is a false flag or red flag. But I would say that hearing that information about Martin Luther King in 1968, with what the government did with his family in court, settling with them, and what happened in 1963 with JFK, I would think there could be some sort of a similar connection between the two assassinations. Two high-profile figures. Both guys were, let's just say, political. I know Martin Luther King was not in office. He wasn't like a president, but he was still a political figure, a very prominent person for all the people in general, especially the black community. And back in those days, that was a very big thing, you know. So they're very similar. Two high-profile guys in politics getting assassinated in very strange circumstances, like just very bizarre ways that they were assassinated. JFK's assassination, the government, to my knowledge, never ever admitted to anything like they did with JFK, but the coincidences of the two deaths that followed JFK's assassination, involving the guy that assassinated him and then the guy that assassinated the assassinator, that's very strange. And then obviously Martin Luther King settling in court with his family. But I don't know. Those are two very strange cases. I know this video is specifically obviously about JFK, but I wanted to bring the two stories together because I think there's a lot of parallels, you know, between both JFK and Martin Luther King Jr. My opinion, you know, I know the question you're asking me is like, what do I think about the whole thing? You know, do I think it's shady? Yeah, like I just said a few minutes ago, I do think it's shady. JFK's assassination and what followed after the assassination is really shady. Now, if after he would have been assassinated, if they would have just, you know, when they arrested Lee Harvey Oswald, sent him to prison, he spends life in prison or death, whatever, and nothing else crazy happens, I probably wouldn't have thought it was too suspicious. I would have been like, well, I mean, nothing else happened. But the two deaths that followed the assassination is what raises the red flags way up for me. I mean, that's, I don't know. That to me is a little bit, well, more than a little bit suspect and just, you know, mind-blowing. You know, to me it's just really, really weird. So to answer your question, yeah, I do think it's very strange. And to take it a step further, I would say it's probably more than a 50% chance that somehow or another, some way, the government was involved, or whatever you want to call it, the government, if you want to call them the Illuminati, whatever, had some sort of connection to the death of JFK. And of course, Martin Luther King, we all know. But JFK, I think there was something, I would say definitely more than a 50% chance. I don't think it's 50-50. I would lean more towards some sort of cover-up conspiracy, not conspiracy theory, but an actual cover-up conspiracy by multiple people that had JFK assassinated. I don't believe one guy just thought about doing it and did it and succeeded. Lee Harvey Oswald. I don't believe that. I don't think it was just him, because he ends up dead 2 days later, and then the guy that kills him ends up dead. So that's very, very strange. Very bizarre. So let me know what you think down below in the comment section, or again, you could email me, whatever you like, on your thoughts, views, opinions, beliefs on this subject at hand, JFK. And you could also talk to me about Martin Luther King if you want. I mean, they're both kind of sort of connected a little bit. Down in the comments below, you could give me your feedback, your opinions. Maybe it's not a cover-up. Maybe it was just a real assassination, and coincidentally the other things happened afterwards. Who knows? But you guys could let me know down in the comments what you think about it. I'd really be interested and curious in hearing from you guys about it, because I think it's a pretty, I don't want to say cool or fun subject, but I mean, somebody died, well, multiple people died, but it's a very fascinating subject. 50 years later now, this is going to be the 50-year anniversary of JFK's assassination. So yeah, it's very interesting historical moment in time. Very interesting. So yeah, guys, I think I'm gonna wrap this video up. I like to try to keep them short and sweet, and not lose you guys with too much ramble. So yeah, I will see you guys on the next video. Probably gonna go to bed pretty soon here, relax, chill out, and I'll see about doing more videos tomorrow. I might do some of the requests. I get some requests. Now, I don't get a lot because I'm a small channel, but some requests, or subjects I don't really know enough about, so I'm not very good at answering or doing a video on something I don't know enough about, unless I do the research on it. So I'll see you guys again later on the next video. You guys all stay safe out there. Have fun. Don't do anything crazy or dangerous. And peace out, everybody.